Three, two, one.
Here, Alan,
Yeah,
do you want to go and see a dead body?
yeah.
Cool. But let's finish the recording first.
All right, fine.
Hello,
Hello, and welcome to Run With a View. I'm Alan.
and I'm Stu, and we are two middle-aged blokes taking a long walk all the way back to their teenage
Mm.
years,
Following the
revisiting
train tracks.
films on train tracks,
Hmm.
revisiting films that are very special to them, and then trying to understand why.
Mm.
Alan, what is today's film?
It is the marvelous Stand By Me by the much dearly loved Rob Reiner, who's sadly no
Yes,
longer with us. And this year, in 2006, no,
2026.
2026 is its 40th anniversary this year. So,
Yeah, this
yeah,
episode. Oh, well,
yeah, I know.
this episode is going to be a little bit bittersweet. I think partly
It
because oh my
is.
God, we're old.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's going to be a bit sad. I think because
Mm. Yeah.
this episode is respectfully dedicated to the late great Rob Reiner.
Very much so.
Yeah, one of Hollywood's most dependable directors for several
Hmm.
decades.
Yeah.
His filmography is long and varied,
Yeah.
and you've probably seen at least some of it. He did This Is Spinal Tap, When Harry Met
Yeah.
Sally, The Princess Bride,
Yeah.
Misery, A Few
Few
Good
good
Men.
men. Yeah.
Yes, I can handle the truth. Thank you very much.
Hmm.
But I think my favorite movie of his is Stand By Me,
Yes. Very much so.
which is
Yeah.
which is based on a short story by Stephen King and
Hmm.
starring a cast of very young actors.
Amazing cast.
Yeah, whose careers would continue in various directions. One of them would go
Mm.
on to explore the galaxy in a huge spaceship.
Yeah.
One would go on to run a comic book store in Santa Carla while dodging vampires.
Hmm.
And one would very sadly not get the chance to realize his full
Yeah.
potential.
Be very much cut short.
It's about a group
Mm-hmm.
of four teenage boys called Gordy, Chris, Teddy, and Vern
Hmm.
in the late 1950s, which is why they have such antiquated names.
Hmm.
They sit around playing cards, smoking cigarettes, and finding fun new ways to insult each other. Uh, but one day, they find out that another boy from the same little town that they live in, which is called Castle Rock, which was the name of Rob Reiner's production company, uh, another local boy was hit by a train and killed,
Mm.
and they decide that they want to go and see the dead body for themselves.
Yeah. The Brower Kid.
The Brower kid, Ray Brower, and the story is
Mm.
the film is based on a short story by Stephen King. The short story
Hmm.
was called
The
The
Body.
Body. Yeah, The Body.
Hmm.
Um, Alan, when
Mm.
you've finished your sip, please tell
Yeah.
us about the first time you saw this film.
Yeah, well, oddly enough, yeah, when this film came out in 1986, I was the age of the characters. I was 11 going on 12. I didn't see it at the cinema when it was released, but I did see it on TV and on video. And I've seen it multiple times. And I've probably watched this film with every single one of my best friends. Um, and
Except
yeah,
me.
no, we've seen it. We've seen it together.
Have we watched it together?
Believe so.
Okay, I'll look that up.
I remember sitting on that sofa behind you watching it with you.
Do you
So
mean the one behind your camera or the one behind me?
one behind you,
Right,
not
okay.
not on my sofa, on your sofa. Yeah, I've seen it multiple times, as I said, with all my very dearest friends. I actually saw it with my nephew this week while obviously researching the film. And he had never seen it, so I was like, right, you're gonna just come over and watch it with me, and he was amazed and blown. He's 26, and yeah, he absolutely loved it.
Just like these four kids in the story, I grew up in the sticks,
Mm,
and so going for long walks and having these wonderful inane conversations was very much part of my my own
mm,
teenage years,
yeah,
and then I discovered alcohol, of course.
yeah.
Um, but I remember liking the movie straight away, and probably just as a fun teenage adventure because I was probably
Yeah,
13 or 14 or something, when I
it's
first watched it. But as I got older and rewatched it more and more, it
mm,
gradually became something more profound.
even though you can watch it with children, it's a 15, I believe. Yeah, 15.
Yeah. There's a
Um,
few F-bombs and
there's a few F1s,
couple
and
of sort of
kids
sex references,
will
but
enjoy this, but I would say it's definitely a film for adults for reflection upon their own childhood. And
yeah,
as you
that's the
watch it
thing.
more as an adult, you get more out of this film. And the
When
older you become, I think, the even more you get out of this.
That when you watch it as a child, you understand it as a child.
Yes,
What's that
exactly.
Bible
Yeah.
quote, whatever, you
Mm.
understand it as a child, and when you watch it as a teenager, you understand it as a teenager, and when you watch
Yeah.
it as a 50
Mm.
something, you understand it
Exactly.
as a 50 something.
So,
I mean, let's talk about the story. I mean,
yeah.
the first time we see all these four boys together, I mean, Gordy is kind of the main character,
Yeah.
really, but it is an ensemble piece, and we'll talk about the characters in more detail later on. But the first time we see the four boys together, they're all in a tree house. So the first time we see them all together, they're all sitting in this tree house and they're playing cards and they're sort of
Hmm.
talking tough and
Yeah.
and all this kind of
Telling
thing.
jokes and
But but
yeah.
but but they're in a tree house, so they're
Yeah.
still kids.
Yeah.
They're right
Exactly.
on that cusp
And
of adult of puberty. They're right in the
mm,
throes of puberty, aren't they?
and even in that early scene, you see it right, the sparks right from the beginning, like turtle things that kids will be doing, like when Vern comes up because he's the last character to arrive in the treehouse. He comes up and he knocks on the thing and says, "It's not the secret knock."
I can't
And
remember
they
the
haven't even
secret
seen that,
knock.
and then they all go Vern, and then they let him in. Again, it's so much for the kids, by the kids. The
Very
writing is
lived in,
so well done.
authentic, I think is the word.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
incredibly authentic, and that's why, as a kid, you attach to it so readily, and
Hmm.
you attach to the characters so quickly.
The actual plot is
Mm,
structured as kind of a road movie, except they're on foot instead of a
yeah,
car, and they're on a railway instead of a
yeah.
highway.
Well,
So
walking
it's
down the train tracks.
they're walking down the train tracks to get to where the kid
Yeah.
where the dead kid is,
Hmm.
and so the whole thing is kind of made up of the actual plot is kind of made up of it's like an odyssey. It's made up of
Mm,
these little adventures, these little episodes that they
yeah.
get into. There's a bit where they have to escape a guard dog.
Hmm.
There's a bit where they get attacked by leeches.
Yeah.
But perhaps the most memorable bit is the train scene.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. What's your favorite of these little episodes that you
Oh,
want to talk about first?
you can't. I love them all. That's the thing. I have attachment with all of them
Like the
because
leeches.
I've like the leeches. I've been in a situation
They're
like that
attached.
myself. Yeah, I've had a similar situation with the train tracks myself. I've had I've had many scenarios where I've been in very similar scenarios to some of the things that happened in the movie. You've got to remember when I left home, I left London to go to college when I was 16, 17, 18, and I moved up to Bletchley in Milton Keynes.
Right.
So again, much more countryside.
So that's where
Um,
you had these experiences that you're talking about.
exactly,
Right,
especially
right.
yes, things that yeah, being on a train track and getting off the train tracks before the train came through. Yeah, I
Train dodging. Yeah.
not on purpose, but
How'd you do
I've
that
had
by
that.
accident?
Well, because we were walking along the train tracks, we thought it was a disused line, and it wasn't a disused line. It was yeah.
We used to go to a dis when I was a kid, when I was their age, we used to go to a disused railway line. I mean, it really
Mm.
was disused. I don't have a story
Yeah.
about it. We nearly got hit by a
This
train.
looks like it, and that's why we thought it'd be okay. And yeah, it wasn't. And we
Oh
got caught
dear.
out, and yeah, we had to do a train dodge for real. So yeah.
Rather you than me. And the train it's not a train dodging scene, but it's like it's
Well, it
kind of set up
is.
early on where
Yeah.
Teddy, one
Oh,
of the
the early one, Teddy's one. Yeah.
he deliberately dodges the
Yeah.
train. There's a train coming down the tracks, and all the other boys they kind of train, or we're going to stand by
Hmm.
the side. Teddy stays there and says, "I can dodge it, I can make it," and he starts
Yeah.
it's like mocking machine gun fire and it coming, go on, all this,
Mm.
and finally Chris runs
Yeah.
up and grabs him and pulls him off because he's the
Off.
biggest and he
Yeah.
can do that. And Teddy's furious with him, like,
Mm.
what are you? Wait, I could have made it. I could have made it.
Yeah.
They make up though. They make up with the the give me some skin thing.
Again.
But there's a scene where on the track where the train track eventually becomes a bridge, quite a
Hmm.
long bridge. It takes 10 minutes
Yeah.
to walk across,
Hmm.
and there's nothing on either side of it. There's no pavement. There's no
No, it's 100-foot drop
fence,
into the
and it's a
river.
100 foot
So
drop on obviously on both sides.
exactly. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, and somebody and there's sort of there's a shot where they're sort of standing at the end of it, at one end of it, thinking,
Mm.
okay, we could go around down to the
That
other
way.
bridge down there, but it's like adds 10
It's
miles to the
5 miles. It's
journey,
5 miles down,
or
five
10
miles
minutes that
back.
way. Yeah,
Exactly. That will take us all night.
yeah.
It's a 10-minute walk, and yeah, Teddy goes, yeah, I'm going to cross here, and you can drag your candy asses 5 miles out out of town and then back again. Well, I'll be
Yeah.
on the other side of the river, relaxing with my thoughts,
Do you use
and
your
then
left hand for that or your right hand?
you wish.
Oh
I
no, we've
mean,
started doing that annoying thing where we quote
yeah, we
dialogue from
quote.
movies.
I'm
We've been
sorry. We're
so
sorry.
good. What are we,
It is
seven
so good.
episodes in now or something? And we've
Yeah,
been so good at not doing that, and we started
I
doing it.
know. But yeah, we're
Anyway,
sorry, everyone.
I mean, the train scene is like
Mm.
it's because obviously what happens is they get halfway across,
And the train
the
turns
train
up.
comes, and they're like, they have to
Yeah.
run the last bit.
Hmm.
But that scene's a masterclass in suspense. It's
It
like
is.
it's like
It's
Rob Reiner
great.
he'd been boning up on his Hitchcock.
Hmm.
It really makes your balls drop out your scrotum. It's like,
I know.
oh no, it's really tense. And
Yeah.
but look at the what's interesting is it tells you it doesn't just. I mean, it's an exciting little
Mm.
self-contained set piece, of course,
Yeah.
and I won't tell you what happens.
Mm.
But look at the order they're crossing in before the train comes. Look at the order
Hmm.
they're crossing in. You've got it kind of shows the role of each character in the group. So
Yes.
like Teddy goes first because he's like crazy
Yeah.
brave.
Exactly.
Then Chris is just behind him because he's the more sensible
Well,
leader.
yeah. Hmm.
And then Vern is crawling
Who's
along really
really
slowly because he's
scared,
scared
really
to walk along
tentative, and
it.
he's on all fours, and
He's on all
he's like, "Yeah,
fours and it's taking him forever and he's really
ever."
slow.
And
But he's not at the back.
no,
Gordy is behind him.
Goldie's at the back. He's stepping one step at a time
Yeah.
behind him, keeping
Yeah.
an eye on Vern, and just yeah,
No man left behind. No Vern left
exactly.
behind.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. And then, of course, yeah, when the train turns up and Gordy realizes because he puts his hand on the rails and he can feel the vibration
Yeah.
and he can see the smokestack coming on because it's a steam engine. It's 1959.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just shouts out,
In slow motion.
"Train!" It's brilliant. It's so well done. Um, And then yeah, and he's just trying to pick up Vern and trying to get him because Vern's just running on all
Yeah, and
fours
he's
like, no, no,
literally
get
pulling
up,
him
get
up.
up, get
Get
up,
up,
get
get
up,
up.
get up.
Oh, it's just
It's just so well
and don't
done.
spoil it.
And
Don't spoil it because
I'm
it's
not gonna,
yeah.
but the acting in it as well is brilliant. And they had to do quite a few takes for this. I don't want to spoil that as well because of the commentary, but how Rob Reiner got he's got an amazing. It's one of the first times he lost his rags at the kids to really get them to kind of get a reaction from them
To get
because it
them
was
to look.
taking all day trying to get this shot of them, and they used a really long 600 mil lens. So
Oh,
the
well, you got them
train,
in front of the
yeah.
train to
So
make it
they've
look
got them in
closer.
front of the train, and it makes it look really close, but the train's way, way, way
Yeah,
off
yeah.
in the distance. It just doesn't look it. But they had a dolly on part of the bridge all made up because not all of it was shot actually on the bridge,
Yeah, some of it's
so
a
the
composite
shots that
and
you
yeah.
see the people on the bridge they're stunt doubles, but yeah, but he was trying to get the reaction of obviously a train coming, the kids literally shitting their pants, but the weather was really really hot, and of course they had these original dollies of the camera going along the train tracks, and these people had to physically yank the dolly across the train tracks, and yeah, these kids were not getting the response that Ryder wanted. So he really just went, for God's sakes, I had enough of this. I really need your reaction. Look at these poor guys. They're sweating. They are here day after day just because of you. And you are not getting, I'm not getting the response that I wanted from you. And
He
these guys are
shamed them.
yanking this. And he's really just having a go at them. And he goes, and the kids are starting to well up and they're going, and he's going, right, and Peel, shoot now. So and they go into it, and it is the one that you see in the film. That is the final
That's the
when they
take.
that is the take that you see, and that emotion from the kids as well because they still remember this to this day. So when you watch the commentaries and you see them
They
talking
tell
about
the
this, they're
story,
like going,
yeah.
"Yeah, we were bricking it." Because we not because of the train, because we upset you and you were
Oh.
really angry with us, and we're like, "Oh
Because
my
Rob
God!"
Reiner, I mean, Rob
Yeah.
Reiner was obviously a great actor's director because he was an actor himself.
Oh,
He was,
yeah,
he was a sitcom star in the early
exactly.
70s, wasn't he, and stuff. Um, but but so there's all these
Mm.
little set pieces and stuff, but they're all kind of glued together by
Oh,
the four boys just walking along the track, sitting by the
mm.
campfire, chatting away, singing songs,
And it's just
have gun will
silly,
travel and all
silly
that.
kids stuff, and it's just,
Yeah,
but it's
trying to
stuff
get a
that
rise out of each other,
exactly the little things like where you see them
making up
walking, two
stories.
of them walking down the street, and one of them kicks the other one up the backside, that backflip kick. I mean, I remember doing that when I was a kid.
It's full of these
It's
little details, isn't it?
lovely
It's
little
lovely details.
details, and yeah, so
And one
um,
of the stories that Gordy makes up because Gordy is kind of
yeah,
I mean, he is Stephen King in the
yes,
story.
exactly.
He's the
Well,
one who
he is.
goes on
He's
to
yeah,
become a writer and all that kind
hmm
of thing. And in one of these stories that Gordy makes up, the film squeezes in or rather out
Mm.
one really big comedy set piece
Right.
about
Yes.
this fat kid who's sick of having the Mickey taken out of him for being fat,
Mm.
and by everyone, even other fat people in the. So
Yeah.
he goes to this pie eating. He enters this pie eating contest, and ends up getting
Going
his
for the
revenge.
biggest revenge.
Do
Yeah.
you know what? I'm not gonna. Let's
No,
not spoil what
I'm
he
not going to
does
spoil
because
it. I
let's not
don't
give
want to
away the
spoil
story.
it because,
But
yeah,
it is one of the
everybody who's seen this film knows exactly
yeah.
what we're
You know
talking about.
exactly if you've seen it again. If you
Everybody
know,
who
you know.
hasn't seen this film, you're going to love it anyway. And when you get
Yeah,
to this story, you're going to read what's going on, what's the revenge, what's the revenge.
yeah.
And when it happens, you will know it's just such a 12-year-old story, the
It's
perfect story that kids would make up and tell
yeah.
each other.
Uh, I think it's funny because like 10 or 15 years later, that would have been called gross out comedy. You know, like
Yes. Hmm.
for reasons I won't say again. I won't
Hmm.
go into, but
But it's very
uh.
cartoonesque as well, which is
It,
what
it
I
is
like
quite,
about
it
it.
stands
It's
out
got
in the
that,
rest of the movie, doesn't it? From,
yeah.
almost like I was sort of wondering before I rewatched the film last night, I was wondering,
Mm.
is it a bit out of place with the tone of the rest of the film? But
Well,
actually,
it's
having
meant to be.
rewatched it,
It's meant to be. I'll
well, I
give
don't
you an
think it is
example.
actually.
I'll give you an example. If I'm not going to spoil what happens, but if you remember the bit where Lardos is preparing for the pie-eating contest and what he does outside the tent before
Yes.
he goes in, if you notice when he's getting himself ready, that thing that he pulls out of his pocket and what he drinks,
So
again, I don't want to say,
walking on eggshells,
but
trying not to give it away.
exactly.
And
But
I mean eggshells.
the sign on the bottle is very cartoonesque.
It's huge. Yeah, it's almost like
It's
Acme
just a word.
something.
It's an Acme sort of thing,
Yeah, it's like a Roadrunner
and
cartoon. Yeah,
it
yeah,
is a very cartoony esque. And if you
yeah.
think of what happens
And the
in
way
the
it's shot and the
Revenge,
way
yeah, and
everyone
the way
wear
it's
the
shot, the
clothes,
coloration,
costumes.
yeah, the color,
Yeah,
and again, the coloration is very different from the rest of the film. And this
yeah.
another thing I like about a lot of the flashback sequences in the film as well. The coloration is really well done, and each of them they're all different from each other as well.
I mean, I think Stand By Me is one of the great coming of age movies. I
Oh
think
yeah.
every generation has one,
Hmm.
and this is ours,
Yes.
even though it's set 25 or 30
Well,
years before it was
I've got
made.
different coming of age movies through my life for different areas in my life. But yeah, this is one of my favorites. It's Stand By Me is one of my films that's been in my top 10 for a long time.
It's set 25 30 years before it was actually made. So therefore,
Yes, yeah.
technically, it's from our parents' generation.
Yeah. Hmm.
Or for our parents' generation would kind
Exactly.
of I guess.
Mm.
So it's funny that we sort of think of the nostalgia cycle as a new thing, but
No,
it really isn't.
it's
There was a
always been.
lot of
Well,
50s
yeah, think
a lot of
back.
50s nostalgia in the 80s,
Well, yeah,
as we've
think of
discussed
Back
in
to the
other
Future.
episodes.
Back to the
Yeah,
Future
Back
is
to the
a prime
Future. Yeah,
example of that.
yeah.
So yeah, and
And
everything. If you think
Reagan's
about,
whole re-election campaign, I think, was
yeah,
in was that one where he's like "Make America." Well, he said "Make America Great Again." He's the one who
most
did that, came up with that.
most nostalgia things go in a 30-year cycle because that's
Mm.
generally roughly the age between generation to generation.
Yeah,
Most parents are in their 30s when when they have kids.
yeah.
So
So
there's
when they get to their
generally a
40s,
30-year.
when they're in their
Yeah,
40s, they remember, they flash, or they
exactly.
nostalgize. Is that a
Hmm.
word? No, they're nostalgic about a period of their teens. So that's 30 years ago. So yeah, what Stand By Me does though is it sort of it takes that sort of nostalgia and kind of it doesn't turn it on its head exactly. It does live with it. It does sit with it, but it also kind of, as I say, it is about coming of age. So it is kind of about putting away childish things and all
It's
that.
that moving on because they're at that age where in same in the UK they would be moving from say like primary school into secondary school. It's
Mm,
of that age. It's that last summer before they
yeah.
go into what will be a new chapter in their young lives.
For me, the main theme of the movie is relationships between men,
Mm.
uh,
Yeah,
or in this case, boys who are on the brink of becoming men.
yeah,
And what's very unusual about the film is that it explores the emotional sides of those relationships. Like, right, it doesn't just sort of mine them for crude comedy like a Hangover movie or something.
mm.
I haven't actually seen any of the Hangover movies. I'm just
Mm.
assuming that's what they're like. If you've got a better example, please put it in the comments. Um, but what I love most about Stand By Me is that these relationships are shown in all their emotional depth and quite unself-consciously.
Yeah.
So although there is a lot of humor in the film, as
Hmm.
I think we've established, it never sort of completely dissipates the emotional tension with a joke to make everyone feel comfortable again, like a Marvel
Mm.
movie would or something. It
Yeah.
goes to these deep emotional places and it stays there for a while. And in fact, if anything, they undercut the humor with seriousness.
Mm,
Like,
yeah.
when they're in the treehouse, and the narration, there's a narration, we discover it's Gordy when he's a grown man, from
Yeah.
reflecting back from the 1980s, and
Hmm.
he's sort of narrating the thing, and his narration is sort of like, while they're sort of playing, they're joking about in the treehouse, like, all this stuff. He basically is introducing the character, saying, "Well, Teddy was like this, and Chris was like that," and what he's
Mm,
saying about them is their essential sort of character flaws,
yeah.
their
Hmm.
central kind of character. Well, see, well, I keep saying, I've got in my notes character flaw. I feel like flaw isn't the right word, but it's it's
No, I
it's
know
it's
what
an
you mean
aspect of their
because
character
it's the
that's,
flaws that make the characters
well, that gives
depth.
them
Gives
dimension.
the
Yeah,
yeah,
gives them
exactly.
depth. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll come on to the character, what those flaws, or whatever the right word
Hmm.
is. We'll come on to that later on. But just give a couple of examples of the of what I'm talking about. There's a scene where they had this experience. They had this sort of they're trying to escape this guard dog in a junk. They're
Mm,
hiding out in a junk, or they're sort of
yeah.
like chilling out in a junkyard for a bit to break up the journey.
Chopper.
And there's a guard dog called Chopper,
Chopper.
and the dog is after them, and they're sort of like, and they just make it over the fence in time, and the dog, and
Hmm.
then the owner of the junkyard comes up, and he's like, "Oh, you kids, I'll get you," and all this kind of thing. And Teddy, who was the mouthy one,
Yeah.
um, he's sort of like, you're never gonna. And the guy, the junkyard owner, does what an adult
Recognizes.
should.
Well,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
he does what an adult should never do in that situation, which is sink to
Mm,
the kid's level and
yeah.
behave like the kid. You should know better. And he says, "I know you. You're the guy with the crazy dad,"
Yeah.
which we know is what pushes Teddy's buttons and really
Exactly.
upsets him. And he starts going to town on this guy, like,
Yeah. That
you
totally
melon
loses it
farmer,
a
I'm gonna
little.
get you. I'm gonna. Oh, he says, what did he say? I'm gonna rip your head
I'm
off,
going to
and
rip off your head and shit down your neck,
that's the one. Yeah, and
which you
all
got
this, and
from
it's.
Dan Aykroyd.
I can't say I'm totally shocked, but yeah, it's like it's. So he's really, really enraged, and like,
Mm,
and the guy's still like, now the power's on his side. He's on with it, and he's safe on this side of the fence because Teddy
yeah.
can't get to him. Then when the
Mm,
dog's getting the kids, it's like he can't.
yeah.
It doesn't cut. It sort of fades, doesn't it?
Well, they
To
they
so
walk around the corner, they come away
yeah,
from that, they drag
and
Teddy away,
yeah,
and then the next scene it cuts them sort of just walking away from that, and so
yeah,
the camera's panning backwards, and they're just walking towards the camera,
yeah.
and it's all for them, and it's a fantastic long shot. It's almost about 2 minutes, and all the lines are perfect. The timing is incredible for these young actors to perform. Now, you'd expect good actors to be doing this really well, but these kids do it brilliantly.
Mm.
Yeah, Reiner mentioned multiple times how proud he was of
Because
the
Teddy
four
just
kids managed to, yeah,
because Teddy is he's beyond
he's in
rage now. He's
tears. He's,
he's
yeah,
crying his eyes out.
hmm,
He's literally like this, like he's sobbing. He's sobbing into his
mm,
hands, and his three friends are with him, and like I think Chris has got his arm around him, like it was almost like
yeah,
almost carrying him, it seems.
hmm,
And then Vern and Gordy are sort of either a flank on the
either
flanks.
side.
None of them look embarrassed. They don't
No,
sort of look away and kick the
no.
ground. They certainly don't take the piss
They
out of him for it.
bolster him up. No, they said, where was
Yeah, they
he
put their
during
arms
World War
around him.
Two? Your dad was on the beach in Normandy,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
they'd make him feel better because
making him feel better.
they know
Mm,
understand how he's feeling because they've all felt like that,
yeah,
and so have we.
exactly. But
And
yeah,
it's something you
such
don't often see in a movie,
no, no, exactly.
in a sort of kids movie or a
Hmm.
teenagers movie. They usually it's like a sex comedy, or it's an
And
adventure, like something like the Goonies. Is sort of a
hmm,
junior. The Goonies is like a younger brother to Stand By Me, or rather Stand By Me came
yeah,
out. This is an older brother to the
yeah.
Goonies, but
It just keeps gently fluctuating, literally from one really heart-wrenching scene, it'll just snap back to a comedy line, or just before
it's
quite go
very.
to really deep, really insightful, depths into these characters and the horror that some of these kids are dealing with their own families.
But it's like, again, well, the tone, yeah, the control of tone
Mm,
is just perfect. It's exquisite. And
it's really well
who's in
done.
charge of controlling tone in a movie? The director.
Director. It was just
Yeah.
interesting what he had to say in one of the commentaries when he was saying, because obviously he was mentioning this as a coming of age movie for these kids, but he was saying at that age as a director, he was using it almost as a coming of age for himself as a director of trying to move forwards from the shadow of his father, having
And
greater
which is,
respect in his industry.
let me just
Um,
say, his father was Carl Reiner, who
mhm,
died a few years ago. I think he was 98 or something.
yeah,
And he was a very accomplished comedian in his own right. He used to be Mel
mhm,
Brooks's partner back in the day,
mm,
comedy partner, and they used to do. And he and Carl Reiner directed a load of movies. He did, like he did some stuff with Steve Martin in the 80s, and he did The
mhm,
Jerk and Dead Men
yeah,
Don't Wear Plaid and stuff like that. So
exactly.
yeah, so Rob Reiner's. I mean,
So
nowadays they say, "Oh,
yeah,
he was a nepo baby."
mm,
That
yeah,
there's no such thing. If you're
hmm,
talented, I don't
yeah,
care who your parents are. If you're not
hmm,
talented, you're not going to get anywhere.
no.
You'll be found out immediately. So
But you know,
anyway, that's just
but
my
he
bugbear.
he felt he was, under a great shadow, a massive shadow
Yes.
from his father. So he was using this in some ways as a form of stepping out, stepping forwards, becoming his own individual, becoming a director in his own right, which he certainly did.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, for him, this was really powerful, and he's mentioned this quite a few times that out of all of the movies he's made, this is the one he's most proud of.
And in my opinion, rightly so. But I think
Yeah,
because he done what he done before this, he'd done Spinal Tap, of course, the first
Spinal
one,
Tap.
and he'd done the Sure Thing with
Yeah,
Cusack. I think.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
think
the
that was
sure
it. I think
thing.
that this was only his third movie as a director. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe third or fourth, but
yeah, because he hadn't got on to doing
and they were
When Harry Met
comedies.
Sally, and yeah,
No, that came later, and those
yeah,
earlier movies were comedies. So this is
mm,
a bit more. It's
yeah.
going out of his comfort zone with comedy, which he was.
Nice little thing about Sure Thing actually, because obviously he did it with John Cusack, and that's why he brought John Cusack into this. But if you notice, a lovely little line when just before they start on their walk, that where Chambers is walking down the street, and
And
then
Chris, yeah.
Chris gets a lift, and he jumps off the back of the truck, and when he
Oh
says
yeah.
thanks, he doesn't say thanks, he says sure thing. So there's a tiny little, lovely little tie thing
I
to
didn't pick
be
up
there.
on that at all.
So again, from the commentaries, so
And,
yes,
but speaking of Chris, I mean, another good example because he has a big sort of emotional scene as well,
yeah,
where this is about I think two-thirds of the way through where they're by the campfire and then they'll take it in turns to
mm,
keep watch with a gun because they've got a gun because
yeah,
it's America.
hmm
So he's sitting by camp and like he's sort of a bit upset and Gordy's like they starts
Well,
talking about it and
he's
Chris,
like one of the bad, one of the
well yeah
bad
Chris,
kids of the neighborhood.
yeah,
One,
he's got this difficult family life. He's got this reputation that his family
patient,
has that
yeah,
he has to live up to, or not live up to, but
mm,
try and get away
trying,
from.
yeah, exactly,
And because his family are treated like criminals by the rest of the town.
yeah,
And he tells this story about like his reputation is Chris Chambers, yeah, he's the kid at the school who stole the milk
no,
money.
exactly, yeah,
And it's like he tells the story and Goldie's like, but did you steal it? He says, yes, I did steal it.
yeah,
But the point of the story is that he tried to take it back.
hmm
He changed his mind and decided to do the right thing and tried to take it back. And he
yeah,
told the teacher about it
hmm
and gave the money back to the teacher. And then the teacher spent the money on a new dress.
yeah,
So he
exactly,
was betrayed
and
by by one of
yeah,
his teachers. And the idea of so there's this idea of how adults are untrustworthy, can
where
be
they,
untrustworthy or fallible. And that's
hmm
one of the hardest lessons that kids have to learn. And
exactly,
Chris is he is in tears. And
mm,
I mean, I don't know if you, I think you probably, as you've watched all the extras.
mm,
I have watched the extras on the DVD, but a long time ago.
yeah,
So this
oh,
is from memory, but I think maybe you can correct me on this, but I think Rob Reiner tells a story in the making of thing about
yeah.
how he was working with River Phoenix on that scene,
Yeah, he
and this
ties
is
into that. Yeah,
yeah, but
and
he sort of like I think River was sort of having trouble
he was,
bringing
yeah,
the
and he
tears.
was really worried about doing the thing because he just couldn't. He felt he couldn't get the emotion right.
Yeah,
So, and him and Will, the actor who played
Will Wheaton, yeah,
Will Wheaton,
plays Goldie,
that they were going away and constantly practicing and stuff like this, and
and he's
because
got to cry on demand, doesn't
he's got
he?
a cry and
I mean,
demand,
they cut
and
away to it, but
yeah,
back
River
to
was
it, but
saying he
still.
didn't want to have the because what they used to do is blow menthol in their eyes to make them cry.
Oh, to make the tears.
That's
Yeah,
how
yeah,
they. But he didn't want that. He wanted the proper emotion. He really wanted
yeah.
to get the real emotion. So yeah, Rob Reiner could see that he was struggling with this scene. So he just took him to one side and said, talk to me. What was going on? And obviously he was saying, no, I can't get the emotion. Can't get the emotion. So he said, well, just think about the scene. But think of a time when an adult has let you down. Think of a time when you needed to do something really important and yeah, someone who you trusted. You don't need to tell me who it was, but actually use the story into your own life, and that's exactly what he did. And then when he went for, he said, "Yeah, I think I've got it. I think I've got it." And they went to do the scene because it was this scene was actually right at the end of the film. It
Oh,
was
right
the
at the end of the
last thing they
shoot.
shot. Yeah,
Yeah.
right at the end of the shoot because it was indoors. Because at that time you couldn't get kids to shoot out in the dark. 'Cause
Oh, you.
insurance and in yeah
Yeah,
insurance
yeah, yeah.
reasons and
Not
stuff like
union.
that. So it
Yeah, I know what you
was
mean. Yeah.
yeah the campfire, all that campfire stuff was shot in a
Oh, on a
warehouse
set.
in a set.
Oh, right.
So it was right towards the end of the film, and of course, all the way through the film is saying, "Look, I don't know if I can do this. I'm really struggling with it." So, and it just goes to show what a good actor, what a good actor, sorry, actor director Reiner
Rob
was.
Reiner was. Yeah.
I mean, as well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but actually, before the shoot even started, they got the four kids together and they did a 2 week sort of improv acting class. So they
Like
just did
developing the
improv, yeah,
characters and
developed the characters,
yeah, and the
developed their
relationships and
actors,
everything.
so
Yeah.
they could bond together over these 2 weeks before they even started shooting. So when they did start, they were sort of like a team. They were already a little gang.
And a lot of movies, it sounds like an obvious elementary thing to
Yeah,
do, and it
well,
is
again,
really.
this is normal now in filmmaking,
Well,
but
no, but that's the thing. It's not. I mean, I think a
mm,
lot. That's the thing. I think it's actually quite unusual to
mm,
have the opportunity to do that because making films is
yeah,
it's
so
hard.
expensive,
It's
yeah,
time.
timing, yeah,
Time consuming and getting the timing right for everything. And it's
mm,
expensive. It's everything. Film is expensive. Celluloid,
mm,
which this would have been shot on,
yes,
is expensive. So it's everything. Time is money, and to have the time to rehearse is like a
mm,
luxury in Hollywood filmmaking, as far as I understand. It depends on the director to a certain extent. Some
yeah,
directors can say no. I want to rehearse this
mm,
the whole thing. So it's great. It's great that they did that, and it really pays off because in the finished film, these
mm,
boys they aren't afraid to cry in front of each other.
no,
I mean, because A, they're still children,
yeah.
but B, there's this really, really. I mean, it comes out. There's this powerful solidarity between them.
Yeah,
Hence the
and
title of the
what's
movie.
interesting as
They
well,
really do stand by each other.
yeah, they're not each of those crying scenes as well. You don't see them just suddenly smother each other with the hugs and everything else because they're like, oh God, I'm feeling awkward because my mate's crying right next to me, and
Yeah,
there's sort of like this
that
kind of
element's in there too. Yeah,
a tentative touch,
yeah,
but
which makes
that's
it
that
more
strong sorry, I can't remember the
solidarity.
word how to say thank you, from the
Salieri.
characters that does give them the support.
Let's talk about technique a little bit because it was
Mm,
filmed in the summer of 1985,
yeah.
about a year before it came out, and
Hmm.
almost entirely on
Gorgeous weather.
location.
They had
Yeah, lovely.
literally day to day sunshine, day
Up in
after day after
Oregon,
day. Yeah. Even got to a point there was a
not Maine. Actually, I just
no,
realised that. All
no, it was
Stephen King
Oregon.
stuff is
All in,
yeah,
yeah.
but Stephen King usually sets his stories in Maine, doesn't he?
Yeah. Mm,
That's interesting. I didn't notice that. Anyway,
mm,
but that location, that Oregon,
gorgeous
uh,
scenery.
it's almost another character in the movie, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think one of my favourite shots in the entire film is the one where they're walking along the train tracks, the four kids, and two of them in the
Which one? There's
foreground.
loads.
There's loads, but it's the one with the water tower where they're walking past the water
Oh
tower and
yeah.
it's leaking. It's just such a beautiful shot.
I'm
It
so
really is
glad you brought that.
gorgeous.
I'm so glad you brought that shot up because
Yeah.
that shot,
Mm,
not only is that the first shot I always think of in my mind's eye when I think about this movie,
mm.
especially if I haven't seen it for a while,
Yeah, I do as well.
it's always the first one that comes to mind.
Mm.
Do you know why I think that might be? And this is
Why?
completely from memory. I could be wrong. I'll have to check it
Mm.
afterwards. Uh, and when I see that shot in my head, I always hear the song "Stand by Me"
Yeah.
accompanying it, even though the song
Mm.
doesn't appear in the movie except over the end credits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
Well, it
So
does. It does right at the
no, it
beginning.
doesn't. No, it
Yes, it
doesn't.
does.
No, it
Oh,
doesn't. It
yes, it
doesn't.
does.
Definitely
Oh,
not.
it does.
Definitely not. No, it
100%.
doesn't. No, it doesn't. 100%.
I
Because we'll
will.
talk about that
I
in a minute.
could play it right now for you. It does because it's an orchestral piece.
Yes, exactly. It's not the
Yeah.
actual recording. I
No, of
hear the
course
recording.
not.
Right. No.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I
You were
said. That's what
very.
I
Yeah,
said.
but Stand By Me, it's a song, whether it's orchestral or
We'll
whether
come on
it's
to that in a
Benny
minute. We're
King's
going. I'm
version or
about to
it's
talk about
Little Milton's
music.
version, which is my favourite version. It's still Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's the one everybody remembers. No,
No,
it's still the same
I'm.
song.
Yes, but I'm talking about the recording. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter.
It's just different recordings.
I know, but what? Shut the fuck up. My point is, when I see that shot
Yeah,
in my mind's eye, I hear
right.
that recording, the Benny
Got
King
you.
version
Benny
of
King.
Stand By Me in my head, right? So even though that doesn't play over that shot, I
Yeah.
think it might play. I think that might be the first shot of the because they re-released the Benny King version of the song
Yes, they
as a
did.
single for the movie,
Yeah,
didn't they? To
they
time the
did.
movie,
Yeah,
and I
because they even
think
did a
and they made a
video for it
video.
as
They made a
well.
new
Yeah,
video with like the kids in it, even though they're a
yeah,
year older, so they've all grown and their hairs
exactly.
they're all taller and their hair's longer,
Hmm.
and they all look wrong. But I think that might be the opening shot of the video, so that's why I connect that in
Possibly,
my
yeah.
mind. Yeah, because I probably saw the video a
It's
bunch of
another
times.
thing I love about that particular shot is because there's two of them walking, where they're all four of them walking on the train tracks, but two are ahead and two are behind. And the two behind, I
Yeah,
can't remember which ones they are. Both of them, well, got a stick between them. So each of them are holding the stick and
and
walking actually on
leaning.
the tracks
Yeah,
themselves, trying to
yeah,
balance and
yeah.
hold each other on the tracks. And it's just such a
Perfect
beautiful.
encapsulation of their
It is.
whole
It's
whole
gorgeous.
relationship,
It
isn't it?
really is lovely.
And the lighting's it's very sunny and bright, but I think there's a
Yeah.
sense of it fading as well. Like it
Mm.
signifies the end of something. Like, even though they're walking along this seemingly endless railway line, at
Mm.
the end,
Yeah.
when they when they finally
Yeah.
do find the body,
Yeah. It's quite interesting, actually.
it's
Yeah.
surrounded. Well, it's surrounded by. They're then surrounded by trees diffusing all that light, and it's like
Exactly.
it's like the realization of their own mortality,
And
isn't
if you
it?
notice, it all
They're
gets
at
a
the
bit
end of the line.
stormy and very windy, and the sunlight goes away.
Yeah,
And actually, yeah, they had to make that because it was a gorgeous sunny day when they went to shoot all of that,
and then to
and
fake it. Yeah.
they had to fake it.
By the way,
Mm.
sorry for telling you to shut the fuck up just then.
That's all right. Don't worry.
Give me
Uh,
some skin.
yeah. Hang on. There you go.
There you go.
I
Oh, we should
can't
have done
get.
that at the beginning. Oh,
Yeah. Well,
let me have a sip. Oh, mm.
well,
um,
we drink while we talk.
well, I talk while I drink.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do.
Mm.
You drink while you talk. That's your way around to do it, but okay. Um, let's talk a bit about the music.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, the film is obviously, I
50s
mean,
classics,
well, the
all of
song,
them. It's
well, the film
brilliant.
is named after a song, a
Yeah,
famous song, "Stand
exactly.
by
Yeah.
Me,"
Hmm.
which originally came out in 1961,
Yeah.
co-written and performed by Benny King.
Yeah.
Although there are other versions, according to
Hmm.
you. Well, there's
Yeah.
many versions.
Well,
I was listening to John Lennon's version the
many,
other day.
exactly. I mean, my
Yeah.
favorite is Milton's version, but yeah,
Okay.
personal preferences. So yeah, the tracks are brilliant. Rocky Robin, Yakety
Oh, there's
Yak,
loads of
there's just
yakety
hundreds.
yak.
Yeah,
I mean,
Lollipop.
well,
It's just
I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, yakety yak.
mm,
Well, I mean, well, that's the thing when they re-released the single, the
mm,
the Stand By Me single, the B side
yeah.
was Yakety Yak by the
Hmm.
Coasters.
Yeah, I know.
But it's not as good as the Arnold Schwarzenegger version though.
Mm.
Yeah. Take out the papers and the trash,
Gosh.
or you don't get no spending cash. If you don't mop that kitchen floor, you ain't gonna rock and roll no more. Yakety yak, don't talk back. Not only is the song named after the film, not only is the
Mm,
film named after the song, but
yeah.
Jack Nietzsche wrote this lovely sort of gentle, pastoral, kind of brassy score, which
Mm,
is built around and his score is the main theme is built around the melody of Stand By
yeah.
Me.
So yeah,
Um,
when you see Richard Dreyfuss sort of sitting in that lovely Land Rover,
and
um,
the opening
right at
shot
the
of the
very
movie,
beginning,
yeah,
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 that's what you hear.
and with the scenery behind him as well, he's quite in the
It's just
distance,
so
yeah,
beautifully done, and
just
then
captures the whole mood of the film
he's
immediately.
reframing on the what's happened to one of his friends, and he's thinking back, and then he suddenly sees two kids on their bike sort of cycle past him, and he's just taken straight back to
Yeah.
when this
And
film was
so are
set in
we.
59, when during, so we're constantly seeing the film through his eyes, through his narration of Gordy's character.
Let's talk about the characters. I mean, you or the cast and the characters. I mean,
Mm.
because they were very I mean, the four main boys,
Oh
they
yeah.
really were young, weren't they?
Well, yeah. I mean, give you a rundown. So, Will Wheaton was 12.
Yeah, he played Gordy. Yeah,
Played Gordy. River Phoenix was the oldest at 14. Cordy Feldman was 12 as well. And Jerry O'Connell was the youngest at 11.
yeah.
Mm.
Gordy LaChance is the main character. Is the
Yeah.
main the point of view character, if you like, played
Hmm.
by Will Wheaton. Gordy's a scrawny, sensitive, soulful young lad.
Hmm.
He worries that he's weird,
Yeah. But then
which
all
is
kids are
quite
weird.
well, everyone worries that they're weird, especially at that
Everybody, yeah,
age.
we all do. Yeah.
Until we
I
get
mean,
to our age, and we don't give a shit
and we
anymore.
don't give,
But
yeah, don't get a toss about it.
or
We know
we
we're
just say,
weird, and
yeah,
we
I'm
we
weird. So
celebrate,
what?
and we love the
Yeah,
fact that we're weird.
I am weird,
Um,
and you're not.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Exactly. You're weird
I'm
if you're
Chevy
not
Chase, and
weird.
you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're weird for not being weird. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, weirdo. Um, but weird is an interesting word. It's
Mm.
quite a loaded term in Hollywood movies of that time. It can
Mm.
mean it's like it can often mean things like gay or
Yeah.
non-binary or trans or something like that in a
Hmm.
time when you didn't. I mean, you had movies that were more sort of explicit about what they're about. I mean, a film about with an explicitly gay character or something like that. But I
Hmm.
think weird is one of those terms that it kind of covers a lot of bases. It's like it's used as a euphemism for anything, actually, a lot
Mm.
of different things. But also, by saying it weird, it also makes the character more universal. We can all relate to what it's like to
Yeah.
worry that you're weird,
You're
especially at that
different
age.
from, yeah, and to
Different,
be
yeah,
honest, at that age, you're all starting to go off and become your own individual a little bit more. And
yeah.
obviously, certain kids are
But at the
more.
same time, you're feeling a lot of pressure to fit in and be the same as everybody
Exactly.
else. It's
There's
that weird,
this.
it's that tension in it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
exquisite
You're all
tension.
supposed to be the same type. Well, children are supposed to just be children, but you've got the
Yeah,
sporty children, you've got the kids that like to write or read, you've got the
yeah.
kids that like different things, and yet you all start to realizing it's okay to like different things.
I think the key thing about Gordy is that his father is his relationship with his father, because his father either doesn't love him or just refuses to show that he loves him, which
Yeah,
to a boy that age, might as well be the same, or anyone
it's
really might as well be the same
devastating. Yeah.
thing. Yeah, and
Hmm.
it's devastating.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean, but as you said, as we said earlier, I think um the whole family is in in
in
mourning
grief. Yeah,
because
yeah,
because Gordy's older brother Denny had
yeah,
died. I think it's 4 months before the story is set. So,
yeah.
and he had
Who's
these lovely,
really
well,
well
not
played
lovely,
by
but
John
these,
Cusack.
yeah.
Mm.
These painful scenes
Mm.
of like, where you see his pet and his mum's just like bringing the wash in, and she's just like, she looks
Ghost.
like there's nothing. It's just like a
Yeah.
ghost. And
Mm.
his dad's doing the whatever, his lawn mowing the lawn, whatever. And Goldie's
Mm.
like looking out the window, asking, "Where's my? Is it
Water
his
cooler.
cap? It's his
Where's my
Yankees
water?
cap, isn't
Yeah.
it? Or
No,
where's
no,
my
no.
whatever? No,
It's
it's something. It's his
it's
bag, in it, or something. Yeah, it's whatever.
no. It's
And he
the
said,
water canister.
"Oh, the
He's
water. Yeah,
after. Yeah.
yeah. Where's the thing?"
No,
And
it's in
and
Danny's room.
it's in
Yeah.
Denny's room. Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay."
Yeah.
So he goes and and it's like, but and to be fair to his dad,
Mm.
he's dealing with his own grief. I mean, it's incredibly hard to
Exactly,
lose a
but
son
it's yeah,
or
you
a
get the
child.
portrayal that because obviously you get a couple of flashbacks scenes about
Yeah,
this as well. And there's a really good scene where they're all at the dinner table, and his
yeah.
dad's just going on about how good football is for Danny, his older brother,
Focusing
and
on Denny's future and
focuses on
what's
Denny,
best for
just
Denny,
focus on.
and
And Denny's like to going, yeah, okay, fair enough, Dad, but Goldie wrote this really good story,
yeah,
and you should really.
deflecting.
And he
Yeah,
just totally ignores it. And then even his mum sort of like says, "Oh, that new girl you're dating, she looks nice." And then the father berates the wife about, don't talk about girls. It's going to distract him from his
from his
football and all
football.
the
Yeah.
rest. And it's you can
And
see that,
look at the way that scene is staged. They're all around the
yeah,
table. Dad's on one
mhm,
side, Mum's on the other side. Both the sons are on the same side.
together. The boys are together.
Gordy doesn't
No,
get his own his own side of the
exactly.
square table. He's an
Mm.
afterthought.
Yeah, he's like
It,
latched on. So the boys are on one side because it's a square table. They could all
so
have
it's
all.
always been
Yeah,
going on then. It's not even it's before Denny's
yeah,
death. It's like
exactly.
Gordy has always been. I
And
mean,
if you
uh,
notice, Another thing which I really liked about this is that each of the flashback scenes are shot very differently. You know, the
Hmm.
lighting is all very different, and which portrays very different things. So, the funeral scene where
Well, that's more of a
um,
dream sequence, isn't it?
it's the dream
It's
sequence,
a
and
bit of,
that's
but
the
it's half and
more,
half.
and
Yeah,
that's the harshest one. The light is overly harsh
yeah.
because
Because
there's
Geordie,
going to be a
Geordie.
harsh, yeah,
I keep saying Geordie because of the
Geordie,
Star
what
Trek
is
thing.
Geordie? Yeah,
I've just
exactly.
recently watched all of Next Generation, so I get Geordie and Geordie mixed up. Even though,
Well, they did
yeah,
work together a
Geor
bit. Yeah,
Geordie is
yeah,
Geordie is Wesley. Geordie is
yeah.
someone else entirely, right? Yeah, sorry.
Exactly. The dinner scene is kind of very bland and
Mm.
flat, and because he's trying to think back to when a good time when he had his brother, and then the bit where you were mentioning a bit earlier about the baseball cap, the bit when his elder brother gave him his baseball cap,
Yeah.
that's the warmest. The coloration is so
Yes,
warm
yes,
and
and
the
you get the
gentle,
warmth of their
soft
relationship.
tone, and yeah, how much he misses his older brother, and how much his own parents are not giving him the love and the support that any child at that age really just desperately needs.
And when he's
And
dreaming about the funeral, when
yeah,
Gordy's dreaming about the funeral and that harsh, overexposed light,
yeah.
it's quite a brief. It's not even a scene; it's a brief snippet, really.
Mm.
But they're literally lowering the
The
casket
coffin
into the
going
ground,
down, and then what his dad
and then
says to
his
Gordy
dad
is just
grabs his hand, turns
horrific,
to him. He
and
turns to him and he
it's
says, "It should
it
have been
should have
you,
been you.
Gordon."
Oh no, it's just awful. Oh,
That's
it's
like being
just
shot in
knife.
the
It's a
chest.
knife. It's a knife in the chest.
Yeah.
That's just
Oh.
what it is. And what is so beautiful about this film is it shows that the lack of love, the lack of support
Mm.
that Gordy is not getting, he's getting from his friends.
He's getting from his
He's
yeah.
getting
Chris is his new
direct.
older
Chris,
brother.
yeah, Chris is his
Putting
dad.
it very
You know,
crudely.
is his hypothetical
I wish
dad,
the hell I
and
was
it's a
your dad. He says to him
brilliant
at one
scene. Yeah,
point.
that great
Mm.
scene where, as you said,
They're arguing.
we're not arguing, but this is when Gordy says, "Am I weird?"
Oh, that bit.
And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and he said, well, "Of course you're weird, but all kids are weird." And then they get into this, conversation about how his dad doesn't love him and
Mm.
doesn't respect him, and
Well, and he breaks down at the end when he. I
well,
mean, well,
that's towards the
again
end, but
when they at the
yeah,
end when they find the body and
find the
he
body
does
and
finally. It all
yeah,
comes out when he sees the body, and it's like because for Gordy the whole adventure is about processing his grief.
yeah,
Like maybe he never
totally, yeah,
saw his brother's body outside of the casket, so he can't believe he's really dead. There's a lot of
hmm
projecting going on, and then at the end, he has that he breaks down again. And he's like, "It should have been me," and
yeah.
all this. It's incredibly hard to watch and upsetting because he's a kid and
It's
he's saying these awful
yeah.
things about himself, and it's anyway, yeah,
So it's just this lovely movement of ride of emotions all the way through the film. Because again, Gordy's talking to Chambers about the fact that when we go off to school, I'll be just in a wood building shop building, just stupid stuff for the stupid kids, whereas you'll be off in the writing classes and with other kids, and don't let us hold you back. Don't let
yeah.
us hold you down. I don't want you being in the wood workshop with me. I want you to be, excelling yourself because you've got these wonderful academic skills.
It reminded me of that when I watched that scene. I kept thinking of, or rewatched it. I kept thinking of that similar. There's this very similar scene in Good Will Hunting
Mm, mm,
towards the end
hmm.
where Ben Affleck
Very
says
much
to
so.
Matt
Yeah.
Damon because they're best friends, if you haven't seen it,
Yeah.
and Matt
First
Damon's like
time I
a
saw that, actually, the first time I saw that actual scene, I was like, yeah,
yeah.
I just sort of, yeah.
Because Matt Damon's this maths genius and he's got
Hmm.
this incredible future in front of him if he wants it. He can do whatever he likes. And
Hmm.
all he wants to do is hang out with his friends and get drunk every Friday night. And Ben Affleck says to him, don't take this the wrong way, but if in 20 years time, you're
Yeah.
still getting
Hanging
drunk with
around
us on
with
a
us.
Friday night,
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you. But at the end, uh, uh, do it again, Geordie. Gordy, he sort of finds his inner badass.
Mm.
Perhaps slightly improbably, I don't know,
Yeah.
but they make it work. I
After
mean,
that,
after that,
yeah.
they face off with, they found the
Mm.
body,
Yeah.
and they're right behind them, right after they find the body. Ace and his gang, the gang of kids, the gang of older kids who have been sort of like have got their own reasons for trying to find the body.
Hmm.
They turn up and say, "Oh, we're going to take it from you," and he's like, no, you're not." And he
Mm.
sort of makes a last stand. I mean, they've got the
Yeah.
gun, obviously, but he's sort of like he Gordy gets hold of the gun, this incipient phallic symbol,
Yeah.
In fact, the biggest incipient phallic symbol in four counties. And he lets off a shot to
Hmm.
let the show the bad guys who's boss. It's a big moment, and it's kind of ridiculous in a way. A little kid like him holding a gun that's as big as he
Mm.
is, and
Which is so well
he's
done
got this
because,
intensity about him, isn't he? Like he's
yeah, well,
channeling all this
it's
suppressed
brilliant because
rage into this big
Kiefer's,
life altering moment.
yeah, I mean, it's a great scene because Kiefer Sutherland is sort of holding a flick knife and he's like, right. And
He's going
it's
to kill.
really
He says he's
interesting
going to kill Chris.
because he's going from one gang leader to another gang leader. That's what I like about the beginning of this scene. It's like, each gang leader is controlling each other gang. So you notice, when Kiefer Sutherland turns up, it's just two of them that walk down to begin with, and
Yes,
then the other
there's
kids
four of
arrive.
us though,
It's
and
for
then the other
yeah,
kids arrive. Yeah,
and then when the older brother, like Vern's older brother, turns up, it's Vern, you son of a whore, what are you doing here? And he comes down, and then Kiefer Sutherland just clicks his fingers and like, no, leave it.
yeah.
I'm
Just
in
like
control. I've got the control of this situation, and that was so well done, so really well played. And then of course it's a gang leader to gang leader. So he's like saying, well, what's it going to be, Chambers? You
yeah,
know, are we going to take him or are you going to
negotiation.
take him negotiation? And then, of course, like, Chambers is going, I'm not backing down. We're here. We've walked all this way. You just drove here. You know,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
sticking, they're both
we've
of them are
earned it in a
sticking to
way
their
you
guns.
haven't.
And then, yeah, Keith Sutherland gets the flick knife out and he's going for him. And the other two, two of the other kids had legged it. Vern
Teddy.
and Teddy have
Yeah, they've
scarpered.
run. Yeah, understandably, really. I mean,
Exactly.
part of me's going like, "Oh, you little,"
Yeah,
but
and literally the
come on, they're
flick knife
kids,
is
and what would
coming
I do
up
in that situation?
to Chambers' neck, and that's when Gordy fires
Ow.
off the first shot because
Yeah,
obviously the others aren't expecting these kids to have a gun.
and that's when Gordy becomes the new leader of the group because
Mm,
thereafter
mm,
he takes charge because like after
mm.
they've seen Ace and his gang off,
Yeah,
what are we going to do with the body then? Are we going to and then
yeah,
Gordy says no, we're going to leave it here.
leave it. Yeah,
And we're going to place a anonymous phone call. But he's almost
no,
taken control of the
mm,
group
exactly.
from Chris, which is interesting. Speaking of Chris,
Mm,
let's talk about him, played by River Phoenix.
yeah,
He's Chris is the leader of the group. I think he's the oldest. He certainly
hmm,
looks the oldest, and
yeah,
River Phoenix was the oldest of the actors.
yeah,
He's from like we said, he's kind of part of he's sort of from the rough family
hmm,
he's been sort of toughened up by his experience. Even though he's tougher, he's also kind and sensitive too. He protects the
mm.
others like a leader should, or like a
Well,
big brother should.
and this is quite the interesting thing because a lot of people were saying, how can these kids portray these characters so well, which they have done, but actually they're actually playing themselves to a point.
Well, yeah,
Well, no, I
yeah,
would
no,
quite
yeah, no,
argue this
no,
that
I agree.
I'm
No,
not, I'm not saying they're not
I'm not-
actors. They were brilliant actors, but in casting, it's
well, that's
very
all actors.
hard
Yeah,
for an actor of that age to portray someone who's not
yeah,
similar to themselves.
yeah.
And River Phoenix at that time in his life was exactly what they wanted um, Chambers to be.
Mm.
They needed a kid that gone through the rough side of life, but had a bit of maturity about him. Um,
He really did, though. He had that. I mean, and
I
again,
mean,
and it is hard to talk about. I mean, it is hard to talk about River Phoenix,
mm,
really, or to talk
weird
about the
because
character without talking about the actor. They're sort of,
exactly because they are so well interlinked.
because River Phoenix was, in case you don't know, he died very young.
Mm,
I think he was 23,
hmm,
and and he'd already sort of, and his death was for our generation. It was a really big deal because he'd already been making movies for a
yeah,
number of years, but he was sort of he was just making the transition into
consistent.
more
Yeah,
grown-up roles. He'd done things like My Own Private Idaho with Keanu
yeah,
Reeves and stuff like that.
hmm,
He was it's a bit like James Dean for our parents' generation. But River Phoenix he was just a really, really promising young actor, cut
mm.
off not in his prime, but long before his prime.
Before his prime. That was it,
Yeah.
not at his prime, but before,
Yeah.
which in some ways hurt even more.
Yeah.
When I found out River Phoenix had passed, the first thing I did was watch Stand By Me, and I
Mm.
actually pulled my eyes out. at the end, and you'll know why I pulled my eyes out at the end, because
Yeah,
the
yeah. Well,
ending,
again, we'll come into that in a
we'll
minute.
be
But
getting
yeah,
to that.
yeah.
But yeah,
If you know, you know. I'll stop saying that
yeah,
because
you
that's
know,
three
you know.
times now. So let's talk about Teddy Duchamp, played
Yep.
by Corey Feldman. Yes,
Hmm.
he's again, he's the big mouth, like he similar, well, not that similar, but similar to his character in The Goonies that he played the year
Hmm.
before. He was where his character was called Mouth.
Yeah.
You know, but he's a show off, but like a lot of show offs, it's all a
Mm.
front to disguise his deep-seated
Yeah.
insecurities.
But with
I don't
Teddy,
know.
there's
I don't know what
this,
you're talking
yeah,
about.
all right. Yeah.
And his father has very serious mental health problems.
He was on the beats in Normandy,
Normandy,
and
which Teddy's always like trying to emulate
exactly. And
in his
if
imagination, and yeah,
we very much know now that so many people coming back from the war suffer from PTSD,
PTSD.
and they
Yeah,
didn't know what it was back then and just
no.
called it sort of shell shock.
And
But
Teddy
yeah,
worries that he's going to succumb to that it's hereditary. He's going to succumb to the same problems in real life, and
yeah,
that's why when the guy in the junkyard, that's why it hurts so much when the guy in the junkyard has a go at him for that.
mm,
So he's got a lot of anger in him, but it comes
exactly.
out with it's kind of sarcastic humor and stuff, and
Hmm.
which Corey Feldman was great at. I mean, he did that in a
Well,
few.
he was naturally with that. That was his life as well. If you think of
Yeah,
Corey, his background, I mean, he started as a child actor at the age of three.
yeah. So he's
Three,
already a 10-year veteran then.
you
Yeah,
know. Um, and that was because his parents like forced him into acting to create an income for the family. And actually, when the film started, when all the cast and crew sort of came together to make the film, when Corey arrived, his parents just dumped him there. They just left him. They just there you go. You're here. We're off. Bye. Whereas all the kids obviously still had the sort of parents and guardians there to look after them and support them. So yeah, Rob Reiner was sort of like, Jesus, whoa, okay, what's going on here?
I'm your
Right,
dad for the next 2 months.
yeah,
Then
I'm
I
going to be
guess.
your dad for
Yeah,
the next
yeah.
2 months. So there was what you've got with a lot of the characters is actually with the actors, and this is why I think this film works so well. And I'm really, really not trying to tone down their acting ability. Far, far from
But
it.
no, but they were cast close to their
They
characters,
were
or
cast
they
very
were
close to
yeah.
the characters,
Which
and
happened when
it
you do you cast to
worked.
type.
But
So
then, I
let's
mean, let's move on to, because we've also got Jerry,
yeah,
Jerry O'Connell. Yeah,
Vern
Ver,
Tessio, played
yeah,
by Jerry O'Connell.
and he
Yes,
went on
yes.
to have a very
He did all
prosperous
right.
career.
Yeah,
Actually, he's
he's
done really quite well.
he
And that was the
because
thing when
Vern.
Vern
Sorry.
was the kind of like fun, the one that was going to say something stupid out of a
Yes,
sentence, or the
he's
comic,
the
slight
baby.
comic
He's the
relief.
youngest.
The
Yeah.
I don't want to say this, the fat kid that they would take the piss out
Yeah. No,
of.
he is
Yeah, and he
exactly what I was
is,
going to say.
he is the comic relief out of the gang.
They all
Um,
yeah, they all pick on him.
they do pick on him
But he
in the
sort of
same
puts
way
up with
that,
it. He sort of puts up
but he
with it though, doesn't
bounces
he? Because
back, and
he
that's it.
bounces.
He's
He gives it back a bit as well. But also, I
exactly,
think
yeah,
because he's the baby of the group, I think he probably
and
can't
it's
believe his luck getting
again.
to hang around with the older boys.
And it's even when he thinks he's got it, like the two for
Oh
flinching,
yeah,
and then he
yeah,
goes,
yeah.
"But you flinched,"
And
and
then
he,
Corey
yeah,
Feldman, and then
it just
Teddy
still hits
changes the
him as
rules,
a
doesn't he?
two
No,
flinching,
no, that's not
yeah,
how it
no,
works.
yeah.
What? What
So
do you mean? I
yeah,
don't. It's so sweet, but
but
he's like,
then
but he plays him with such a great combination of sort of vim and
yeah,
innocence that he's never annoying. You know what I mean?
exactly,
He doesn't annoy
yeah.
us. Do all the other boys have a sort of have this, like I said, this central flaw that they have to confront or resolve in the
Mm.
course of the story? But I don't think Vern does he? He's not really
Well,
got one.
what I like about Vern
Not that he needs one
is
necessarily, but
no, well, he's always the kind of that character arc child where it's always bad luck. You know, no matter what happens to him, luck's never fully on his side. He's always get the bum end of the deal, but he doesn't
the
stop.
fuzzy end of the lollipop.
Yeah, the fuzzy end of the lot of the but
Yeah,
he doesn't let
name that
life,
film.
but he doesn't like let life grind him down. He just keeps going. He
Yes,
keeps
yeah,
going. Like digging for the pennies. He didn't give up. How many holes did he
yes.
did? He
And
keeps
that great
going and
shot of him
going.
under the house with all the holes that
Exactly.
he's been
Yeah,
all the dozens of holes he's been digging for ages trying to find his bloody
exactly.
penny jar that
So
he can't remember where he buried it. Oh,
yeah,
that's his
exactly.
character in a nutshell, isn't it? Yeah. So
Exactly.
he
I
doesn't.
won't give up.
His flaw is his optimism. Then it's a positive
Exactly. He's
thing,
the
really.
full-on
Yeah.
optimist. You know.
Yeah.
So
I
it,
hadn't thought of it like that. That's good. I like
mm,
that. I like that. The antagonist, which is Ace
mhm.
Merrill, played by Kiefer Sutherland
Yeah, the amazing Keith.
in
Yeah,
an early role.
Kiefer.
he's the villain of the piece and a fantastic villain he is. He's
Mm.
cruel, he's
He does
mean, he's
it
sullen, he's
really well.
vicious,
If you
he's
think he's
ice
good in
cold.
Lost Boys,
He's ice cold and
yeah,
softly spoken. He's like a genuinely scary psychopath. Yeah, he leads this gang of older boys who are like, they drive around listening to Jerry Lee Lewis, smashing up mailboxes with baseball
yeah,
bats, all
they're
that.
the late teens, early 20s gang of kids, and
Yeah,
this was that's
they're like a dark shadow of our
yeah,
heroes. They're
exactly.
similar dynamics and hierarchies and
So we've got the
everything.
gang of sort of like, the 12-year-olds, and then we've got the gang of sort of like the 19, 20-year-olds
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
driving around and drinking beer
They're
yeah.
probably not like seven, they're probably 16, 17, 18. Actually.
Yeah,
They're
well,
probably not even that
yeah,
old.
late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
So,
Because, but I think, but Ace is like he's like a constant reminder of the real danger the boys are in because,
yeah.
he wants to get to the body before they do.
Hmm.
And he's prepared to, as we've said, he's prepared to really hurt them in order to do it. We get
Yeah.
glimpses of how evil he is,
Well, yeah,
but
the game
but
of
then we see it
baseball.
all come.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
Mailbox baseball.
I don't give a
Mm.
crap if you live or die. He's that kind of just
Yeah.
totally like, I don't care. He's got this.
Well, here's a nice little thing as well, which that they talk about, directors and the actors talk about as well, because a lot of Comic Cons and all stuff like that, where they've gone to stuff, and the directors and actors have been asked questions over the years about films. One question Rob Reiner kept being asked was when um, Ace takes Gordy's cap, who's given to him from his
Oh yeah,
older
it's
brother.
his introduction of the character, isn't it? He
Yeah,
steals his cap off his head.
exactly. Because he said, right, well, at the end of the film, does Gordy get his cap back, or
Oh
what
yes,
happens
I
with
don't even
Gordy's
know.
cap? He kept, Rob Ryder kept getting asked this question over and over and over again.
I didn't even think of that.
And he said, well, no, this is Ace's character. What's happened is literally the moment Ace has stolen the cap and taken it off. As soon as he's gone around the corner, he's just thrown that cap in the
Yeah,
bin.
then yeah,
That's it, gone. It's
it,
he's just that
it,
evil. He just doesn't give a shit.
it didn't want the cap. It just wanted to mess with
He
Gordy.
just wanted to mess with him.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. And
So that's the sort of character.
he brings a real menace to the film, doesn't he?
And he
He represents in a narrative sense the prospect of death and the fragility of life, just
mm,
as the dead body does the same thing in a thematic sense.
yeah.
But Kiefer
Um,
Sutherland, I mean, nowadays you probably cast a young-looking 25-year-old to play this part,
mm,
especially given how horrible he has to be. But Kiefer Sutherland was 18 at the time of filming,
yeah,
and
yeah.
not that much older than his co-stars.
No,
And
exactly.
just like his dad, Donald,
Mm,
he can play like heroes and villains and all points in
mm.
between. But also like his dad, he is particularly brilliant at playing complete and utter bastards.
He's good at it. He
And
is
for
good.
Kiefer Sutherland's career, this is where that all starts, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Cusack, yeah, again, he
Mm,
plays Goldie's older brother, Denny. He only appears in flashback, as we said,
mm,
because he's already died in a car crash before the story starts. And Denny is like,
yeah.
he's pretty much the perfect older brother. He's
Mm,
very close to Chris in personality.
yeah.
He's tough and playful and takes the mickey, but he's kind
Hmm.
and sensitive as well. And Cusack, he's only got a couple of minutes in the movie, really, but
Yeah.
he squeezes every drop out of them, doesn't he? Um, and then, of course,
Mm,
there's this framing device at the beginning of the film with the narrator,
sure. Yeah.
which is played by Richard Dreyfuss, and
Dreyfus,
it's
yeah.
well,
And
I mean, I
he's
think
fantastic. He's
he's the
brilliant.
adult version of Gordy, right? He's the
Yeah,
grown-up version of Gordy,
exactly.
looking back on this in the then present day of the mid 1980s. Although he's actually credited as the writer
So,
rather than
yeah.
older
Hmm.
Gordy or whatever, which is interesting.
Exactly. Yeah.
But he narrates the whole movie with this, he's got
Mhm.
this. It's not. It's it's not a huge part on the face of it, but
No, it's
he
not,
has
but it's an
quite a few
important
lines, and
part. I
it's
think it's a really important part. And I think,
oh, it
again, this
is.
is one of those great movies where narration is done very well.
Yes, it augments the story rather than
Exactly.
overwhelms it. Or
It's a writer's film. So
yes,
it is a writer's film from a writer's perspective as well. So I think this is where the narration works very well in the same way it does in a book or a novel. Yeah,
but
I can't.
he has a
But
really nice line.
He's
He has a
brilliant. He
really
does it
nice
so
line in
well.
affectionate sarcasm, doesn't he?
Oh, exactly. He's great. He will again and again, just
Chopper,
like the
sit balls.
with with the tone of the film where it could quickly alter from really sad,
And he can do that. He can
difficult,
follow that.
and
He
then
can
just
follow that
twist it to
oscillation,
comedy,
can't
twist
he?
it
Yeah.
to something else dramatic, and yeah, he does again,
Greater comedy,
makes it
greater drama.
makes it
Yeah.
look effortless.
So after the
Mm,
confrontation with Ace and his gang, there's
yeah.
a bit of an epilogue with
Mm,
the boys all they walk home in silence and
Mm.
walk back along the railway track, and they all say goodbye at the end,
Yeah, they
and
walk all
they
through
all
the night, and yeah,
yeah barely
don't
say a
talk
word.
very much. Yeah,
Yeah, hardly a word
um,
is spoken. And then they get back to town, and they all kind of go their separate ways.
yeah. It's
See you in
interesting because they
school, all that.
don't want to just drift away because that's what they are going to do in real life. Because
Yeah, and the narrator says
mm,
that he basically says we're gonna. I hope we hardly ever saw each other after that day.
yeah,
You know, we didn't really. We became just like was it? He says we became just like another face in the
a
corridor
face in
of
the
high
hallway. And
school or
actually,
the
oddly enough, I
hallway.
remember this myself when I went from primary school to secondary school. The
Losing touch with
friends,
people.
yeah, the friends I had, we all went to the same school, but then because we were in different classes, we just saw less and less of each other. So my bestest friend in primary school just became another face in the hallway
Another face in the
when I
hallway.
went to secondary school. So again, it's really poignant how well and how true to life this film actually is.
Who goes first? Is
Gordy's
it Vern?
Gordy's no,
Vern goes first, doesn't he?
yeah, Vern
And
goes
Pink finds a
first
penny.
and finds a penny,
Oh, a
which is
penny.
brilliant. It's that lovely, yeah, it's
Optimism.
that
Yeah.
prick constant optimism.
Oh, I found a penny.
Because they needed something, and that was the other thing. The writers like, well, we've got to have something for Vern. We've got to have something for Vern. And then I think it was
Well, he has 10
and
kids and all that,
yeah,
doesn't he, or
yeah,
something? Yeah, he
Andy
does. Yeah.
Shyman said, hey, he finds a
Oh,
penny.
Andy Shyman's the writer who,
Yeah,
one of the
came up with
screenwriters.
so
Yeah.
many of the good stuff with the kids lines, and obviously the stuff they used talks about around the
The
campfire, like
banter.
the
Yeah.
banter,
Yeah.
just Donald's a duck, Goofy's a dog,
Oh, yeah. What the
Pluto's a
hell?
dog.
Pluto's a dog. What
Who's
the hell's
Goofy?
Goofy?
What the hell's
That's
Goofy?
weird. What is
Yeah, it's
Goofy?
Goofy. He drives a car and wears a hat.
I still don't know what
So
Goofy is. Anyway, yeah, go on.
he's a human dictation, or he's an adaptation of what a human is. That's what Goofy is.
What's Goofy? Answers in the
Is
comments, please. Yeah.
he's a human. He's in Disney's
He's a human with
adaptation of a
big
human.
teeth.
Yeah, because he
Okay.
can drive a car and he wears a hat. There you
Yeah,
go. Dogs
and can
can't drive
chase
a car.
his own tail and
Yeah.
eat his own poo as well. Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
that's just like most humans. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
so Vern finds a penny and he goes
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
And then yeah, Gordy
Well, it's Teddy next, isn't it?
Teddy
Yeah.
goes off and he's like, yeah, I need to go before my mum puts me on the biggest wanted list. So yeah, the other two branch off first,
Hmm.
and then there's lovely narration about
Well, they
what
walk back to the
happens to.
tree house, don't
Yeah,
they?
they walk back
Gordy
to
and
the
Chris walk
treehouse.
back to the
So
tree
while they're
house.
doing
Yeah.
that, you get this lovely narration of what happens to Teddy. That as he grows up, he tried to get into the army, but he couldn't get in because of his eyes and his ear. You know, and he ended up spending a bit of time in jail. And
Yeah.
last I heard, he was doing odd jobs around Castle Rock.
Yeah.
And Werner got married, married
Had
his
10
high
kids.
school sweetheart, had 4 kids,
10? I thought it
uh,
was 10. Oh, I
four.
remember that wrong. I was at 4. Okay.
Yeah, what
But
his
he's
life
happy
is.
probably and he's making the
And
best of
then
life like
and
he
then
always
again,
did.
it was really nice as the two characters get up to the treehouse. They're sort of like looking over the town of Castle Rock, and he said,
Mm.
and Chris worked with me. He enrolled with the college courses. He stuck it out. He found it really hard, but he stuck it out, and he went to law school. He got out of Castle Rock. He made it. He worked hard. I mean, because the character basically walks off into distance, and then
Oh,
when they
you mean visually and like how it's
visually
actually shot? The
how
characters
it's shot.
disappear. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
The character
yeah, yeah.
physically disappears from shot. He
Gotcha.
just basically vanishes. But
Yeah, I mean, I'll say what happens. I mean,
that
yeah.
has a stronger impact, I think, because of what happened to Phoenix, what happened to
Well,
River.
this okay. Look, I'm gonna put
That's
okay. I'm gonna
why,
put. I'll put
yeah.
the spoiler card up, but
Hmm.
I'm gonna. There you go. Because what happens is the narrator says the writer, older Gordy, he says that later in life, Chris
Hmm.
became a lawyer.
Yeah.
He really, unlike the rest of them, maybe, or unlike the other two, he really made something of his life.
Hmm.
And then just last week, in the context of the story,
Yeah.
he's in a fast food
Fast food
restaurant.
restaurant. Yeah.
Two guys in front of him in the queue get into a fight.
Oh,
Chris, what does he say? He always made the best piece.
Dace. Yeah. Tried to break it up.
Tried to break it up,
Got
and
one of them
he
drew a
gets stabbed,
knife.
and he got stabbed in the throat and died
And he
instantly.
died pretty much instantly.
And of course, for Gordy, for the writer. It happened
mm,
very recently. It's very fresh in his mind. You get the feeling that the whole framing device, the whole story, the whole reminiscence was
mm,
inspired by Chris's death.
yeah,
And on top of that, you know, you think of how the actor who played Chris didn't even
mm,
get to live as long as his character did.
no,
He didn't get into his
exactly.
30s.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredibly sad, of course,
Mm,
and you know, no, you've got something in your eye. Um, but it's sort of what's interesting about the ending is it sort of shows you I think I hinted at this earlier. It shows you the limits of nostalgia. You
mm,
know how you look back on this time in your life with rose-tinted glasses, but A, things weren't necessarily as great as you remember. You know, you nearly got
mm,
murdered by Ace Merrill for a start.
yeah.
And B, even if they were that great,
Mm,
it just makes you sad that those times are never coming back.
yeah. After that is it's again, it just gets better. You think, how can they kind of not top this? I mean, they're getting towards the end of the film, incredibly sad scene right at the very end, and it just ends it with the, I've never had friends as good as I had when I was 12.
He's writing on his computer, like, yeah.
And again, it's just,
Jesus, does anyone? Yeah,
does
yeah.
anyone? And it's such a brilliant way of ending it. And then, of course, then it comes to this bit where, he's reminded by his own son, because he's just literally fixated
His
on
12-year-old
writing
old
this
son or
door.
whatever he
His
is, yeah.
12-year-old son saying, "Dad, want to go swimming? How long be waiting? Oh, are you guys ready? Yeah, we have been for half an hour.
Yeah.
I'll just
Oh,
be
he
a
gets
minute."
weird like this when he
Yes.
starts thinking about the past. Yeah, all
Yeah, he
that. Yeah.
starts
It's like,
weird
it's
about it
coming
when
to
he's
you, kid. It's
writing,
coming to
which is
you.
exactly what Chris would have said to him,
Yes,
when he
yes,
was
yeah,
writing
yeah.
himself. So again, he's getting this constant nostalgia, and that's what this film is. It is about nostalgia. It's about the loss
And it's
of friends.
discontent.
It's, yeah,
Yeah.
it's about loss of life, what we gain from life, what we gain from our friends, what we gain from our family, what we lose, what we've lost, what's important, what isn't important.
Mm.
It's the story of life. If you haven't seen this film, have a box of tissues with you,
Yeah.
because you
I
you
think we've
you
done,
pro
I think, I mean, there's still time, but I think we've
mm,
done quite well to keep dry eyes in the house
mm,
while talking about it. I thought I might have cracked up at I cracked at one
mm,
point, but yeah, I'm professional.
mm.
Uh,
Or he tries to
I
be
mean,
anyway.
well, I try to be and fail. I mean, the film was. It's interesting, because it was a commercial hit. I mean, it did well on a reasonably
Yeah, it's
modest
big.
budget, but
Yeah.
more importantly than the sort of commercial success, I mean, the film went on to attain a cult following.
Oh, exactly.
Because
It hit
because
cult
here we are 40
status.
years later, still talking about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd be very, you can maybe answer this question. You sort of have a
Mm,
little bit already, but I'd be very interested to know how this film plays with generations younger than ours, because on the face of it, its
yeah.
setting and its cultural references they were old fashioned to us, and we were its
Yeah.
original intended audience, I suppose. So I suppose
Mm,
younger kids or people just younger than us could probably hurdle those little obstacles just as easily as we did. Like we don't, this isn't music that we grew up with the way that it is that
mm,
our parents grew up with or parents'
yeah.
generation. So, Alan, when
Mm,
you were 12 or 13 years old,
hmm.
which of the four boys were you?
Mm. Interesting. Yeah. In some way, I can't. Yeah, I don't know. Well, put it aside. I weren't the fat kid. Um,
Let's talk about personalities.
no, no, but oddly enough, I probably was an amalgamation between different ones. So I had friends. I had Chris. I had a friend who was definitely Chris. I had a friend who was definitely Vern. I had a friend that was definitely Teddy. I had amalgamation of all that. I would say I'm more closely associated with Will
Oh, with Gordy.
than with Gordy.
Interesting.
Um, but I'm not a writer. I'm not as angry as Teddy.
Hmm.
But yeah, I hope to be as fun as or have the optimism of Vern. How about yourself? Where would you put yourself?
I, I, the first answer or the first one that I kind of reached for was Vern because
Mm,
I think probably because I'm the youngest of four brothers,
yeah.
by quite a long way as well. I'm 7 years younger than my
Mm.
next youngest brother, and
You were the baby of the family.
I was absolutely the baby, and it's, and also like Vern, I'm quite sort of like, I was probably like desperately trying to, a bit
Mm.
naive and a bit, even now, never mind as a kid, sort of looking up to the older kids
Yeah.
and like, oh, is that how you do it? Okay, so you do that, and then, oh, right, and not really understanding what I'm doing, but okay, I'll just do that then, but it doesn't really,
Mm.
I don't really understand it. Uh, so, but yeah, I think like you, I'm probably aspects of different characters. I mean, I probably have Gordy's kind of,
Yeah, you got Gordon's writing and
well, I wasn't, yeah, I mean,
academic
yeah, well,
capabilities.
I wasn't really thinking of that. I was thinking more, other aspects of his background and his experience of life. But okay, yeah, that too. Sure, thank you.
Mm.
But I've got Teddy's anger definitely.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
I think maybe we can both agree that neither of us are Chris,
Yes.
because Chris is almost like he's almost like a. I don't mean this as a criticism, but he's almost like
Mm.
a an unattainable sort of.
Yes. I was going to say that.
There's
Yeah.
something almost
It's like the Obi-Wan
superheroic about
effect. Yeah, the
Chris.
Obi-Wan Kenobi effect. Yeah.
Yes, yes. He's almost perfect. Well, he's not
Yeah.
perfect because he's got his
Hmm.
problems and
No,
stuff
well,
as
yeah,
well,
exactly.
and his
But he's
insecurities.
he's what we would love to aspire to.
Yeah, we all need a
Yeah.
Chris in our lives, I
Yeah.
think, and we'd all love to be like he's the guy we'd all like to be like,
Yeah.
but we
Hmm.
never probably never will be.
Exactly.
But then the cost of that is
Mm.
no, it's
Yeah,
not
I
even.
know.
I think
Too high a
yeah,
cost.
yeah,
Too high a
well,
cost.
but that is that the way to think about it? I don't think it is.
I
But
don't know. Yeah.
um,
Mm.
so in conclusion,
Yeah.
I think there are lots of there are lots of there are lots of films that are called weepies. They're usually
Mm.
aimed at, perhaps rather patronizingly, they're usually aimed at a female audience. Your Steel
Mm.
Magnolias and your Beaches and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think of Stand By Me as a weepy for guys.
Mm.
It's one of my all-time favorite films.
Yeah.
Currently standing at number 12 in my top 100.
Hmm.
It's in your top 10 of all time, did you say?
Yeah. Has
Well,
been for
yeah,
quite some time.
yeah. No,
So
excellent.
yeah, it's I let it drift out, but it came back in.
Because we keep
Um,
records of these things.
yeah, we do. If there's a film you want to pass on to the next generation, I think this would be it.
I think it's probably a lot of people's all-time favorite film. It wouldn't
Mm.
surprise me in this. It's that kind of a movie. It's a
Yeah.
movie that people absolutely adore. It's one of those movies that you love it as a kid, and then
Yeah.
for slightly different reasons you love it as a teenager.
And you learn to love it more.
And then for very different reasons you love it even more as an
Mm.
adult. Yeah, so
Okay, so
thank you
again,
for watching.
thank you very much for going listening to our rambles again.
I hope I got this one
Yeah,
under an hour. I don't know
yeah.
yet because it's
I
in the
doubt it.
future.
Just a big film. So, but
Well,
no,
I've not
yeah.
I've not got the only episode I've got under an hour is the one where I didn't have loads of notes, so it's my fault. I'm on my 8 pages of notes, so I've got to say this, I've got to say
Yeah,
this, I've got to say that. Um, the Monty Python one was the only one I didn't have loads of
yeah.
notes for because I hadn't seen it before.
No, exactly.
So that was a different format.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Anyway,
yeah. So again, thank you very much for joining us on another one of our rambles. I hope you've enjoyed it. But as we always say, and everybody on YouTube, if you like us, please subscribe
don't forget
and
to
yeah,
subscribe and sub like. Yes.
and join us on the next review. So yeah, until next time, thank you very much for joining us
That's
on
it
Run With
from
You.
that's it
Good
from Run with
night.
a View.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.
Bye.